Lasso, Tanamos Samala, Annie Samji Dashi Delisho, Annie Dang Nimingla, Gyaltsen Tsering, Annie Danga Chudong Geshe Gyaltsen Tsering, Laya Jagalip, Annie Demon Layatini, Chilojon Rujeni, Idinia Lojon Samadan Tarsun, Annie Gemela La Lochita, and it's a Pinzoleone, Lochuzuladi, Tadu Dini Lotuchini. They were yes, being auto to finish.
You give gallery.
You don't just jabby.
Let's soon just
No?
Lasso, Destiny to everyone, and my name is Gyaltsen Tsering. I was born in 1988. I was born in 1966 and I came to India in 1988 when I was 33 years old, and I enrolled in Debung Monastery where I completed my studies, and after that I stayed at Gyurme Monastery for 1 year, and after that I've been teaching at LTUA for 10 years to Buddhist philosophy.
Lasso, and then Jeremy want to did this channel.
My Tibetan name is Tinepamo, and I have been living here in Dharamsala since 2004. And I went to TCV till 8th class. After that, I joined Varanasi Institute of High Tibetan Studies, and I completed my Acharya in 2021. That's it. Thank you.
And that if they so said that which issue the garrers the Yoromochi and Namji Garson Goresina, and a Chirano Sozo Chimbola Lojonche, and the De Lojon Kancheva the Sozogia, Yamlinchi, Ajana in a Sembazambo Tony, Kazotsuto, Palapsho, Somban Shingitoni, Tangazo, Lavia Tapshido Chivio.
And our Shide organization has been started with the aim to implement the advice of His Holiness the Dalai Lama to study Buddhist philosophy and not bringing harm and spreading the Buddhist teachings to others.
And
also with the aim to provide opportunity to the Geshes to study language at our organization. So I am a perfect example of someone who has to rely on a translator due to my lack of knowledge of the language. So it is very important to know languages. And actually, I really enjoy teaching to other people. I really enjoy it. And when I see a Tibetan person, I really enjoy teaching that person because I can express everything on my mind to that person. But when it's non-Tibetan speaking person, I find it really difficult.
Yeah. That didn't go to Joshua Mushilama, Namatsuli Shuaina, Carres, the Hatsu Joshi, the Karashasha, Yosina, Matse, Chudan, Dresul, the Kojoshi, the Dinichi, Kosha.
So, if we start with the main topic, the topic of today's talk is how do we connect or connect our life to Dharma?
Yeah. That thing is number two, Shivalaya, decent to Tomason, Tombongi, Matseza, or me, Matseza, Tombo, Misa the Kanimba, Timo to Chich, and then Matseza the Karakadichi Lazigore, and Nibadichi. The one, then he chudan Reva you make a chew moto chichi, then he dedan and Reva Chesachi, don't send Oji, she going in Amazolia, Chishua Samson. Tambode. Mitse the kind of Misa the kind of Chimade, Tini, Misse. Anybody, Chungo trot. Somebody, dead on Jeva, Cheta.
So I've made a few points to summarize our today's talk, and the first topic would be discussing on what is the definition of a human life or human being. The second one would be the definition of Dharma. What is Dharma? And the third one is how to connect our life with Dharma.
Yeah. That Dambo Molia and not so Mitse Chudan Deva Shipi, me is that. So me said the Kanichila Segure, Lavaina, me said Marshishin Donko was. Tonda Marshi Donko.
So when we say we as human beings, we want to connect our life, our human life with Dharma, what do we mean by human being, by being a human being? So usually we use the definition of a human being as Mashishin Tyonggowa, someone who can express and in human language and who can understand the other person, what he's saying.
Yeah. The Marshishin don't go as at the paying also the Nuba Chemo Yoba the Dengue, Mizadla, Tomo might be Simja Janda Mandavi, Nuba Chemo Yoba the Dengue.
And that very quality, that very definition of a human being, it proves us that we are so much superior than other living beings.
Yeah, Carrella Baina Pena Sosola Kangi Jumbaina, and in Ala Kangi did you do. This area Tapsi Carriers in the Mibi Chandala Yapa, Kaja Sheva, no? Tana you can meet Chanda Kangi Karachi in Baina, Susu Nientava, Titun, Gotava, or Didi, Nuba Yoba the Dengue.
And how do we know that this statement is very powerful? For example, if we feel suffering, we have the power to express it to another person. We can say that I am suffering in this way, and also we have the power to understand the other person's problem.
Yeah. Tavan Anshin also Mimi Porilla Kangi Jumba Yinayon, Hansa Ko Karza Kachashini, Nota the sound of Chiag Nasola Nubayori.
And then if there is, for example, there is a conflict between people, again, we can negotiate about this conflict exactly through the speech, through talking out the conflict.
Mado control Lamatani, Lamsa, Chikila Jari Gomogo, Dingato Migatomo Maybe, Chichi, Muniji, Chadi.
So definitely this is the unique quality of a human being, that when we get angry, it is not necessary for us to go and start a fight. We can negotiate our problems.
That Chino, the same Jamba in a Pasho de Sosola to control the Delia Pa control the Lembo de la Chikila control Derigeni, the Nino Jimato, Janda Corona, Nuba the Yongo Marwa.
On the other hand, we can see that the animals, they act completely different way. There is a cat or a dog that shows aggression to the other animal, and the other animal responds in the same way. They start fighting. And they do not have this powerful tool that the human beings have.
Tanan not so carre semjing rich. Madongazo Sada, Dodan, Shindo, the Nirgrim Dongazo, semjing rich. That semjing the Taze Maiba, Chikti, Karambodan, Kino, the Dinigrim Maimazo, meet Momaima, same jazz, not so share of the Demba, some no Jachimoyoba, Tinichi Chadi.
And speaking of to what category of beings we belong, we are living beings. We are not some kind of stones or wood or plants. We belong to the living beings. But what makes us stand out from all the other living beings like animals, bugs, and different birds? What makes us different is
yeah. Pena maruzo samlo dini tawon de kan la ya ji de maung tata ti sumga ge tola ya samlo tang to ya ji rangshin chami ge dona la ya ji samlo tang to ya azu samlo ni ba de ya ha ji shik chim bo yores.
So what makes us stand out from the other living beings is the way our thinking is. We can think way far into the future. We can think about ourselves as well as others. We can comprehend a lot of things at time.
Yeah. Dene yin songsa nga tsu mi se ya de la ya tumo ma yi ba kare yores. Nga tsu go lu nga yi sumga la ya jen semche la me pi ge ni ba pe shik chimbo yo ba de tambo nga tsu su ngonzen che to go yore.
So it is really important to understand how we are different, how we are unique from other living beings in perspective of our, be it our body, our speech, our mind.
Yeah. Te su dindi ji ngonzen che to ba ina pendo kare yore la ba ina. Anerka go toni ngar tsu diri sani semle ya ngamtra dang sem jimbi na sa se anu ta sem go tole ya pe kangi shibi ji do. 제가 소소 딘디 니바다 데마지 그 삼로지 땅 투와이나 딘디 그 강에도 소이나 용 고도 용 말이에요.
So what would be the benefit of understanding our unique qualities of being a human being? At times, for example, when we feel depression, when we feel low, if we understand, if we really see the qualities that we have, naturally there would be no need for this depression to arise. Naturally it will subside.
Yeah. Tanda 인지 그 돈에 가르자 힘인비 자데 그 디그 측드가 배 누바다 덴바지 그 측드양 측 약보지당 누바다 덴바지 제거르지 말이 그래 힘인비 자데.
I've heard that human being is really has a lot of meaning behind that word. That is really powerful word. Word itself is it human being?
Yeah. When
you say you are human, be humane. No?
Yes, be human.
Humane.
It's a good quality to be
Yeah,
human.
humane.
Not all humans are humane. Behave in a humane way.
Yeah, but it's a compliment.
But it's the word, right? Humane. Human.
Humanity, our humanity.
즉 니식요 바로지 된 거를 되게 즉 힘이
They're not the same word.
Not the same word, but I think the root is.
이름도 다
Oh,
대제 다지 정부 초로지 다 어디니 즉 땡기 열었어도 야, 다 드니는 sonsa dordi shabaina ngarucho mtsege nanola nachola ya karese 강에 대한 림비 진이 용대 그래 가르에서 디간이야 그 지가 내당 지가 돈이 강에 지가 지소지 차고온데 강에 좀 돼야지 지금 소소를 기본으로 지금 디니 지금 기기 차고 봐이나 지금 기본 용돼야 돼그 노당 지금 차대 우리 응보내 당 지금.
So to summarize, in our life we face constantly different situations. One situations when we suffer, then situations when we are happy, and it's a natural process that when all the factors for suffering they are present, then we encounter some difficulties, and again when all the factors to be happy are present, again it's just a natural thing that we feel pleasure or happiness.
Sanji Jundan diga namtar ka nanola chikar dosi diga la tanda trunker lamni zaji tanda odindo odiga nanola chikar yoresiti Sanji Jundan dile ya condition dungur sa ngoni meba rea yore meba soji yorebe jiwa tang yore 하고서 dungur tanga so kange da dungur sa yorba ti ngoni meba soya yorebe zini Sanji Jundan dile ya condition.
In Buddha's life story, particularly in the book of Old Path White Clouds, is the correct title? Old Path White Clouds. So there is a person who encounters Buddha and asks him, is it really possible to get rid of all the sufferings? Is it really possible?
Yeah. Diga land la Sanji Jundan diga karasong gore se tambo dele Dungur se atela, Jun due, Mundue, Sima. Dungur se ate, Yobachire, Jumebachire, yes, Odesumba.
And the Buddha replied by saying that, does the suffering has a cause?
Yeah. Ta ko dungur te, Yobachi baina, Jut the Yori Tanshabaina, Dungur the Yori Chadore, Jut the Meva Sojabaina, Dungur the Meva Soja was.
So, if the suffering has some causes or some factors for the suffering to arise, then naturally, if you reduce the causes for suffering, then naturally you can reduce the suffering itself.
Just didn't insult on Arsolia, Kangi in the Jongi Kavli, Kangi the Taro, some of the Tangalape, Dikaji Johnson, some Sendri Rogini, Madeva Jenny, Kangi the Servi Tablam Karandu, what is Susan Tango.
So, if we encounter some suffering or difficulties, it's really important not to focus on the suffering itself, but to try to eliminate the causes of the suffering.
Dindi Samlo Chitambaina, and Sim Jimbi Nazazano, the same Namda, so Chuni Yungumares.
So, if we try to look at the sufferings from this perspective, then for sure there would be no room for the suffering or for the difficulties to come.
Kazan Yandir Muchin de la Sonjuna Kavlena, the Chisonson, Garasonson, the Gun. Not so me Jambala Passamlo Dandi, me Jamba the Shiori, Nagiori, Kolakangi Jongori, the Jong Anije, Takola the Johnson, Kurunguranji, but which is some Tangadus, me Jandala, Tansim Jandala Sanotandi.
Previous time when Yangten Rinpoche was giving teachings here, he mentioned that when we see someone suffering, we get a feeling or a false idea that poor person, that must be his nature, like it is something for him to happen naturally.
Yeah. Kodan Draviga, so Kala, Kangi the Leve on the Kala. Tamasu Samlo Kartang Yore. Malatin the Karchin Yungures. Malatin the Kangi Karchin Yungure. Tindicinipe. Sosola Halamas on the Tindikangi the Juni, John Muchawado, John Missapado, Tinisamotangus.
But when the thing falls on our head, we start crying out, oh, why did this thing happen with me? Like it is something impossible, like it is something unjust.
Tikanle Karasamlo Kodore, Tape, Sosola Kangi, John the Kala, Samlo Tantaji Mashibaina, Tanzambo, Lila, Kangi, Cheshire, Dumore, Cheshire, the Sosore, something, and Soso same the Pedagaba, Shikjasha, the Kalatini, the same should be Nasa, the Shikimole.
So, if we are unable to comprehend the situation, even though our problem is really small, we make our problem seem like it's the world's biggest problem.
Yeah. Pena Geronzola, Nimatsega Nolola, Tanga Dona Nimatsega Nolola, Gangi, Chichi, Chonchon, Tangoni, Kakolea, Pekangi, Pesimlia, Mazupi Kangi Momut in the Chonu. Yimba Yinayang, that's also Chochin in the Karat, Chayore, Sitigan, Suzu Givishin Dang, Jean Chimotola, Lojon Chibi, Dikadan, the Samlo, Dan Shiba, but the new Tony, young Pedica, Simpe, Jumni, Dainanga, John Samari, Dainanga, Zambulina Dena, Choyo Samari, Sambi, Tiniga Simchi Chamanu.
In my life, I have faced a lot of difficulties, as small difficulties, small sufferings, as well as really huge problems. And these problems were really, some of them were really hard to comprehend. But still, due to the kindness of my teachers and their teachings, and all the years that I have studied, there never came a thought to my mind, now I'm suffering so much. Should I really stay in this world? Like, should I quit my life? Nothing. I never had this kind of thought.
Yeah, Kangi Karkara Chongyore, Lavana, Navachola Teze, Lavana Chichena Pentoyumore. Pena Domolo Nishasam Kani, Karazan, Soso Pamadan, Soso Pai, and Garden Jang Gela number to Sotan, the Sumbo Katrani, and that Jagala Libero.
So maybe if I tell you some of the difficulties I encounter in life, maybe it will be of some benefit. So the first difficulty that I encountered was I separated from my parents, from my loved ones, from my teachers at the age of 23.
다 지금 르미르미진의 소소고진의 다 기위신년도 소야 르미르미진의 공부죠. 아니 소소고 진cen가 아마이나 되는지니 나 공부죠. 되는지니 아니 가서 아니 베드가 떼니 베 카타리아 되는 강에 공부종이.
And secondly, first we departed in physical sort of form, and then later when my teachers passed away due to old age, then my parents, and also during the time I suffered a lot due to that.
야, 다 단대네 거비바이나 소소고 빈자당 다 되니가 지 년지다 되니 나미다 참마 볼려요데 이바이나 지 투고 삼나야 투위 완차 라완데 전에 연구요 말봐.
All of my, and to the present day, all of my loved ones are back in Tibet, and even I have a strong wish to meet with them. I do not have the freedom to do so.
나저 보발라 담배 되리요. 자게나 창 댄스. 자겐고 장원데 간라 소소 자상도 댄 거레스. 미게나 유 댄스 파이 댄 거레스. 자자 나도에나 다 겐고 야야야 장원데 간라 소소 사자다 소소 파이 또소 댄기요레 로니 도기요레 이나 도요 왕차 라완요 말에.
There is a saying in Tibetan, a proverb, when the bird becomes old, the bird misses its nest. And when a person becomes old, the person starts to miss his home, his hometown. And you see, I'm an old person now. I miss my home, I miss my relatives, but I do not have any freedom to go there, to meet them.
야, 다 강에 되는지 여봐 있나? 다 강에 들라 삼로다니, 다이나가 개구지 정사마리 삼니 강에 들려야 샘르지니 대대와이나? 다가 니모세든 니리로지 용고 말와. 다 강에 돼야 레디 있나요? 야 조치니 삼로다니 강래야 소소고지 정치보다 소라야지 로종지 냠내지 강 툭툭고 돈이요. 내가 잠바지 그 돌려야 삼로다니 니리 제용데 강래. 고 머세데 야 강에도 올려 마호지 용도.
So if I continue thinking, oh, this situation is so bad, what can I do about it? If I keep on thinking about my problems and stop doing everything else, then what would be the benefit of it?
야.
Because if I just concentrate on the problem, on the problem, I won't be doing anything else. But when we try to think on other perspective, from other perspective, like I have studied all the Buddhist scriptures, and when my thinking comes based on it, I can do another many great things, and that way my life doesn't get led by the suffering. It ends up.
미한테 결혼solaya 가르치니 주요래 라바이나 근데 결혼소고 맞게 나눠라 이바이나 뭐래 이바이나 지제라 소소소소라 강이 몽부 지존이 단디네 걸라 셈바 맞기바 디니 요시바지레 다 디네 메바이나요 지 름비름비 나좀 맞게 나눠라 있고 이로 노고 요송자 요 강이 디니 좀 스바지레 오 디니 가블이 이바인 소소공이 버더로체 템보당 아니 셈식도 니버도 깨고 요레스.
So why I'm telling all of this to you? Because everyone can encounter, some small or big sufferings on the way, and it's really important to have a firm mind and confidence at such times.
제가 딘디에 소자 나초 미세야 될래야 강에다 두머다 뇨다 간디지 좀바이나요. 디고니 타래야게 탑시 돈비 누바데 마르솔라 요데레스 땡니버도 문지 시고레스 미자.
So whatever difficulties, whatever problems we encounter in life, it's really important to understand that we have the ability, we have the power to escape from that problem, to get rid of this problem.
다 미자도 딘디지 방아 송원지 직지로 다 무체자도 간이 질라세 거래 라바이나 이바데.
So this would be our introduction or understanding of a human being. What is a human being? And then the second point is, what is a human life?
야. 땅 어느 쪽을 남시대 단다 미유리된 대당 제와 차니 kunyin rewa mache par di pari talaya nga zo mache zegorita.
So we can define a human life by the span of the time from the moment our physical body and our consciousness get connected till up to the moment they get separated. We can call that, we usually call this span of time a human life.
Yana keni mashipar. Tela na digdo keni mashipar. Tela ya digu yinsen dala mache.
Or otherwise we can say, we can also define life by the span of time since we are born in this world and till the day we die.
다 마체자데 딘디지 임바이나 오나다 딘디가 그 마체 깨데니가 나자 진도 디 주 가르라 땡요레스 주 코텐사데 가르라 땡데요레스나.
But this human being, me or I, the human being who lives a human life, on which factors my life depends.
Pena kenan so imbaina na karla tenyore lamna kenan so tela len kar japsare.
For example, if I ask you on which factors do you depend, on which factors your life is depending, what would you answer?
Chula.
Karma.
Karma le.
Karatang spudang muk.
Oh, de.
Sa.
True. Water.
Karla tenyore.
What factors does my life depend?
Yeah. Like on what you are depending.
Air.
Lung khalung.
Kalong. Kenan.
On my heart continuing to beat.
Ningi padding la tendiyoris.
I think there's not one simple answer. It's like so many causes and conditions that make me alive.
Then todo chita yosa mare gigipe mambu yorwalas.
제가 말로서 직딘이 그티와 나 가르라 때요래. 그래서 오 칼라라 때요래, 컴발라 때요래, 롱라 때요래, 출라 때요래. 다 되니 뭐뭐 상는 거기도 와.
So when there is a question on what factors do I depend, we start thinking of numerous factors. Oh, I depend on the house, I depend on the water, on this and that.
덴바리 또 소말이야 때요래.
That's true. We depend on all of these.
이나야 쭈가 저 댄사도 가르래서 디가나 쭈 댄사도 가르래서 저 류단 셈니라 댄데요래서.
But out of these, there are two primary factors in which we can summarize everything else, and this is our body and our mind.
나초 pertença 쭈의 류단 셈니 인송자 나초 무체 딱히 무체에서 나초 게니 마시바 디그 인세들이야 소소고 리보 데보당 셈바 기보요나 무세데 기보 자들이.
And when we talk of human life, from the moment we are born and till the day we die, if we have a happy mind, we have our physical, we have physical well-being, then we can say, oh, I'm living a good life, a happy life.
pena mi suleji imba yenaya mi diga lude semki yona mi de la ngoni tashi de ngoni de chungu yores tashi de ngazo tidigal tashi de hello tin lagdo donda karas kena kibo devo da donda pusum soba de la wero de su de karas lude boyo ya dang semba trobo yona donda tashi de ngoni chagure.
And if the person has a healthy body, a happy mind, then really we can say tashtile to that person. Usually we say tashtile to a person when we meet somebody or to congratulate somebody by wishing that person everything good. And if that person is, he has a happy mind, he has a healthy body, then this person really has the tashitile, everything perfect, everything good.
야, 다 리보당 리데보당 셈바 트로보 용와라 쭉 가르고 그래. 쭉 가르고 그래. 라바이나 초땡고 그래. 당가 좀 초땡.
So what do we need to have physical well-being and mental well-being? We need health, good health.
초땡들라 임바이나 가서 콘텐츠가 리던 셈니들야 리긴 초땡 셈군 초땡 니가 가서라 고 그래.
And among this, they are both the mental health and the physical health.
리긴 초땡마도 셈군 초땡 메바이나 이게 양 다시 될래 제가 만들어 보면
So if we have only the physical health, then it will be only half of Tashidile.
근데 손자 맞아 가르스 리긴 초대 제당대야 시고래라 셈군 초대 제당대야 니버도 신고고요레스.
So it's really important as well as having good physical health as well as having a good knowing how to take care of our mental well-being, our mental health.
당하루 전 잠불링가 미 동실 dun실 하 제가 미 참미가 토니 리근 초대다 리라 민주다 달라 주본데려야 도나야 제거래라 배 가족 투도그지 소소근데 제고 초대 제고리 이 양아 솔라 고야레스.
And in the world, billions and trillions of people, everyone is really concerned about their physical well-being. They spend a lot of energy on all the factors to have all the good physical health.
다 임바이나야 셈건 초대 제고 그래 셈건 초대세 셈건 나사 메고서 그래 셈건 초대 제고래 세냐도 되지 뉴뉴차고 그래.
And physical health is something of course, we need it, but we can see that people who are concerned with mental well-being, the number of people who are more concerned with mental well-being are quite lesser than the other.
맞아 남자 짓는 거 돈이 소소 셈레야 강인도다 셈마기 바운데 나 셈바기고 민두 나 셈라 남자도 대자마도 딘디가 남자다 딘디가 제나다 셈 심바다 다 지금 나르젤라서 봐도서 셈가 나사임바 뭔지 지이 되지 가보.
And when people they are suffering from negative emotions or negative afflictions like fear or
나르젤단다 셈 심바.
like pride or arrogance, people usually say that, oh, I'm suffering from this and that, but they do not try to recognize that this karsa nasala muzin chetu. They do not consider this as some kind of illness of the mind.
배샤바이나 양나 소소 컨트롤식 쳔보지 랑바이나 나 컨트롤 랑송 나 롱랑송 대라그레 대참라그레 뭐 니삼라 나사지 lep송 제니수 강요.
For example, when somebody is experience a really strong outburst of anger, the person would say that, oh, I'm feeling really angry right now, I'm frustrated, but nobody would say, oh, there is illness in my mind.
뭐니 제나 소소 이제 셈질라 컨트롤 기용비 가려야 셈라 나사 지렙되고 배나가 저 조고나로라 나사 지렙되 조고나사 렙송세야 나시 셈라 컨트롤 레온데가나 셈가 나사 레온고.
So in reality, the anger, the frustration is an illness, is a kind of illness. But there are really few people who recognize this anger as an illness.
다 임바이나 류그나사다 셈그나사니래 캬버다 가려요래 라바이나 류그나사다 렙송나 코 나데야데 마도 야 뇽바 차그미도 다 맞수 셈레야 딘디가 컨트롤라 소비 셈그나사 지렙송나 미디 뇽바 차노.
But there is a difference between physical illness and the mental illness. The difference is when we are suffering from our physical body suffering, we would just say, oh, I'm not feeling well, some part of my body is I'm experiencing pain in that part. But we do not go crazy. We do not lose our mind in that situation. And on the other way, when a person has, some mental difficulties, some mental problems, then the danger is the person completely loses his mind.
맞죠 남기니 뇽바스나 갈라고래 셰바 랑신도 만행 케들라 뇽바라 그러와 제가 컨트롤라서 받아 나르저다 도차라서 버스고 심jel에 끼온니까 소소기 셰바다 다다지 만행 케지 고네세 다다한 거라 마네 마타바지니 고랑신 만에 바 차르고 어디에서다 다 뇽바세도 문이 차르고.
So usually when we say, crazy person, in Tibetan, the definition for the word would be a person whose mind is not at the right place. So how did the misplacement happen of the mind? Why is it not at its right place? Simply it's due to the effect of the arrogance and the anger that the mind gets displaced.
이나야가 좀 미망치가 응원제 제단도 가르쳐 컨트롤 랑샤세 마도 그 뇽바차샤 디니다 람니테제 고모르바.
But usually, the people, they do not recognize the true effect, the true nature of the afflicting emotions. Like the people say, oh, this person is angry. People do not say, oh, this person has gone mad.
야. 다오나 류건트롤 된다 샘건트롤 된 용화라 탐놈 가려래 라바이나 다 류긴트롤 된다 나서 벤저다 치가 특징라 되니 따다 라트고요레스 류긴트롤 된다.
So how do we maintain, or how do we get to have good physical health? We can say that we can all yeah, we can agree on that it's possible through financial wealth, through money.
야. 이마이나야 샘건트롤 된 자데 Geshe Gyaltsen Tsering tekena gurmala sobale teni tata the yong to revision then you buy your money.
But we cannot give 100% assurance that we can have the mental health based on the material facilities from the financial, financial resources.
Yeah. That in the Sonzani, not so me at the Taki College Lavanaja, not so Mingo Chimbo de la Laba Chimbo de la Samlo Yachimbo Yosons, that's Samlo Tangiores meter. Tangazo Chidiga Liga Dunger Seria, same good Dunger Seria, that Tablam Karchegunu, in the Samlo Mambo Tangiores meter.
The me question will have
Gochimbo, Laba Chimbo Yobanaja. 아니 가서 삼로 야시모 라바 고 디나나 라바 침보 요바나시 삼로 야시모
a person has a big head and big brain, and according to the big brain the person tries to think, find a way, how do I create my happiness.
야, 근데 삼로 당원이 간래야 다 미카식 양 삼로 개침보 요니서 양 지가르데서 오 나솔라 데키지야데 리키데키 셈기데키 니가다 벤조라 데니 용고도 무슨 다 배자시 야담보 소소고 머세 강보데 벤조가 간래야 갈리야냐 벤조르 바자라 소고 데니 몽보지가 토니 답시치니 강에 세트 지요래 대안득요래.
And some people with big brains, very smart people, they think a lot, and after they come to conclusion, the human being's happiness, both physical well-being as well as mental well-being, we can attain 100% from economy, from material facilities, and so they think, the answer to the problem is getting good in economy.
Yeah, 미카시가 삼로 당원이 간라. 벤저 가서 치인 특히 가서 야르 로아 뒤쪽가 아니 리기 강에 더 세트고 봐나 뭔가 삼로 강에 더 세트고 매서 다 다데 게셰 게탐바 강에 세트고 탑람지 레문두 삼비 양 삼로 치당요
and other people, on the other hand, they come to realize that no matter how much you grow in material perspective, it doesn't, get rid of all the mental problems. It's not the complete solution.
야. 다 된디 삼로 당원디가 다 나서고 지 강에 용수 조바 세리 탑람세나면도 샘그 강에 세리하게 탑람들 다 문이 추세야데 텔레텐 바이나 다 문이 샘그 강에 더 세트도 삼 양 삼로 당이 된디지 요비차니 잠불일 출링 다만다 종야데 종탕 림바도 된디지.
And then, people start to search for another way to get rid of their problems, and this is when they turn to spirituality or to religion.
Yeah.
And this is how all the religions or the spiritual traditions in the world came to exist.
Yeah. 자자 된데인 송사 다다긴가 좀 선바도데 가르레즈데 추자지. 추자지 그 모토드 가르레즈데 제자 추자데 잠물링게 지 이시 가치라서 받남바라서 비 추몽보 요레도 처마도 주 간디질랑 원자 제고레 라바이나.
So if you remember the third point of today's conversation was Chö or Dharma. So how we define, what is the definition of Dharma?
딱 고대온 도시와이나 출릭 처음이 돈이 나초 논트장가 가차 시고래 논트장가 류글레가 논트 몸보 제고래 삼로 논트제 몸보 요래 또son 이러와 당비 탑lâm 지래야 아니 초 제야데 주 주고래
So if we define Chö or Dharma very simply in very simple words, then in all in all the religions we say that it is said that we are doing mistakes by our body, by our speech, by our mind, and Chö means transformation or correction of these actions, and this is what Dharma is about.
Yeah. 어딘데 지글라 고고레 마도 단다 지ದಂ게 전이 추세야 돼 고와도 야 첨부 제반의 요체 창마래야 추라고 그러데 요체 창마대 가지고 양 대화데 등물래야 무슨 대화 요바든지 말이 단다 값을 봐봐도 가르서 가지고 지금 샘정 그 대화데 등물라 무슨 대화 요바지 그 돈이 어디니 추세야 돼 요거래.
So the word Dharma or Tibetan Chö has a really broad meaning. And actually a number of meanings, and at sometimes Dharma can be said to be the meaning of all the objects, all the things. But right now what we mean by Dharma or Chö is a spiritual tradition, or something that is related directly related to the suffering and the happiness of the living beings.
Yeah. That dinane 경아서 nang choose ya chulik jeta ba nang choose ya o diga dondan ro da diga godon ro de ganiji langonze chegore lawayina.
And then Chö is Dharma, right? So when we say nang Chö is the inner Dharma. And when we say this, what is the definition again?
나를 저 다기니 제바 고섬세나 지금도 류가 여섬세나 지금도 치 류가니당 난 삼로 니그나니 자 주도 능가 삼로 지르와 당위 탑람 지래야 아니 낭추 송거래.
And when we say Dharma, inner Dharma, we mean to say amongst the three doors, the body, speech and mind, it is the inner thought, inner mind that we are trying to change.
야. 자자 남기니 다 녜데 나름 것이 낭추세 되가네 주부데 샘기로 당위 탑람 지래야 낭추세야 된 원지 제나 야고도 삼비 땅알래야 돼 초로데 레군도.
And usually I have this feeling, or my idea is that this is a very good definition of Nangche or Buddhism, a method that is used to transform our inner mind or change our inner mind.
ya. Chaza, ta dindi jingin songza, zuwu da nangchu gu toni, ta dakin chote niga nani, semkam chote chetangde, ta nangchu gu nani, haja gu pe gebo dan, pe ting zabo dan, rishe, pitako, dindi yore yes.
And I think that Buddhism, we were talking about mental health, and I think that Buddhism is a really good kind of mental health that has really, really broad and deep and really perfect, how to say, perfect methods to deal with our mental health.
Ya. Chaza, ta dindi ga semkam chote chetang ga rimba tumbi yung do sola ya, kara yugo re zin, nangchu ni shibi tserik zade chab yore.
Dandadi kharsa
Semkam jirwa tami tablam ga.
rimba.
Deo rimba semkam rimba jigura, semkam rimba jigura, odele ya nangchu ni shibi tserik.
And the literature that talks about all the stages of transforming our mind. This literature is called Buddhist science.
Ya. Da nan xing nga zo chi deva dan, dungwar dan, da dan, yen se ya, zo tsangma de yen ji le tu ni, gyo dan ki mangbo ji le tu ni yung yo ba ge tu tup ka nam sha chi yore, de le ya zo nang chu ni shebi da tup.
And then the literature that talks about, how the thing exists. For example, me, the concept of me, the concept of others, concept of happiness and suffering, everything comes to existence through the dependent origination. Everything exists by depending on other factors. And this sort of philosophical view, this kind of literature is, related as Buddhist philosophy.
Ya. Da dine chi nga zo gongjo sum jiang ne yang da ke len bi to ni, yang nang chu le lo zhong dang, ane da tu sum gong sum chi ni ya, rinpa ji tang chi yore, de le ya nang chu.
And then there is, another part of Buddhism when we take refuge in the three jewels and we start practicing Buddhism by studying and putting it into practice. And this kind of, part of Buddhism is, can be said, the practice, the conduct practice, conduct part, practice of Buddhism.
Ya. Chaza dindi ga dechen perse wo jini ba dindi che na ni du sure le ba ina, da yaru mo chi ngone nang bi jong chen bo dindi joja du dindi desan sum dindi de ya se wo jini song sha yore.
And the person who made this classification, this very clear and very easy to understand classifications is His Holiness Dalai Lama.
Ya. Da desan sum che de nga zo ro milia kar pendo ja chimbu ganijin yung yore la ba ina. Chaza nang chu zya de ko tomo ma yi bi kansa su le tu ni che go ya chi cha de yore. Yimba ina yang nang chu ni che bi tseri da nang chu ni che bi ta top zya de chu ke le mele namba yimme tsama de le jang ba ina su go ma se ge nang lo la ya da ki nga zo ki ni ma shi par ka ti yin se de le ya su la chi de ki yong da dumur se ya ge tablam chi cha de yore.
추념은 지금은 그래서
추념네 자들 봐. 추념네 진이 진반 거라양 무서 그 등ዝ로 오지다. 무서 지 용고 거 봐. 이마 있나요? 다기 난추는 시비 체리 다다 좀 이보데. 그 장기들 인치무직 되는 거 말해서 무슨.
So why do we need this kind of classification in Buddhism? What is the benefit? So if a person he or she is a Buddhist, then of course there is some rules or some stages that one should follow. But for a person who is not born as a Buddhist, any person from around the world, if that person wants to implement some wisdom from Buddhism, that person, from the moment that person is born till the moment that person dies, that person can take the wisdom from the Buddhism, even though that person would be not, a core follower of that religion.
Yeah. 다 난신가 지 남비기 추어서 되가나 남지 야로 모처냥 지가로송고 뭐 동jam니 지송원데 간래 아니 조반 세와 따와다 조반 이그나나 마 디니송 디나니자 조반 세와 메바스 따와 땡종 무슨 보다 지 남비 추어야 돼 된지 그랑신 지레스 양 된디가 뭐도 제다 용고.
And also oftenly His Holiness Dalai Lama, when he gives definitions on Buddhism, he often summarizes the Buddhist teachings in the view and conduct, the view of dependent origination and the conduct of non-violence. And this is also a way of defining what is Buddhism.
Yeah. 다 텔랍디 가는 가서 고 되어지나 가르송고래 라바이나 아니 따와 땡종스나 돈다 삼로 양다 바스 그래봐 아니 주반 세와메 바스 아젠라 펜 칸토도 페마토 나노바 마친 케지리아 주반 세와메 바스 다 땡가서 뭐세게 나노라이나 땡이버도 고고도.
And explaining these two factors in very easy words, in very easy way, what is having a right view, the view of dependent origination, is just simply having a right view, a right way of thinking. And secondly, the conduct of non-violence. The main word, the main thing that is being said here, even if you cannot help the others, at least do not harm them.
Yeah. 자자 다디 추모트 제아데 다 추제아데 디니지랑 온제 제비 돈이 나바죠 직섬로 당고 요레스.
So this would be the definition of Dharma that would be beneficial to think about.
Yeah. 다 시바드 가르레즈 등가서 출란데와 제스루 출란 가르자 가서 딱이 조시 나노라 멋지 추단 데출루지 데와하지도 다 지금 소소고 멋지도 추단 데와 제스 간데레람다 등에 지금 돈세로도 송고고니 주나 삼성.
So as we have made, this was our third point, the fourth point would be how to relate our life to Dharma, or how to connect our life to Dharma. And I would like to speak on this topic in 3 points.
Yeah. 다 담보들랑에 가르치니 조선 니 멋세가 나노라 추자들은 데와 제야 요래 요 말이에요. 담보데 내서 담보데 돼. 내서 니바도 가르 출란 데와 제나 펜도 가르요래. 니바듯이. 스마트 가르스님이 데와 제니 펜도 요바이나 아니 지금 데와 제당 간디래. 제스로 가르래서 어땠습니까? 돈이 디디지시나?
So I think we would need to deal with 3 questions. The first question would be, in my life, how can I connect my life? Is it possible for me to relate my life to Dharma? And secondly, what would be the benefit? Will there be a benefit if I relate my life to Buddhism? And the third question, if there is a benefit, then how do I do that? How do I relate my life to Dharma?
Yeah. 다 담보들랑에 전화줘야 니 멋세다 출라야 데와 제야 요래 요 말이야. 디고 돌아야 가라 흑배지 부분이 담보 남아줘라 지주와이나.
And I would like to put it in example. The first question, can I relate my life to Dharma? I would like to put this question, I would like to explain this through an example.
흑배도 가려요 라바이나 빼나가서 니마 샤랑 어디 가나 니미 거나 니마 샤라 다 군간도 이번에 니마 샤랑 어디 가나야 니미 호들라 다보미도 다보메인 손자 소소를 그 즈볼 초텔라 니미 호서도 고요 바이나 아니 소소 니미 호서 그 나로라 바 니미 나로라 바안도 니마 가요나 텔데니 네 소소 즈볼 니고 포징이 되고도 로 다티 니미 호그 나는 로 만도자데 소소가 라와리 이나야 nima wosat kasa kawa shar deyo sonza ko sozo telan dewa chema chire mato pasho nimi wote ko kadina sharwa chade urba.
So, for example, the sunlight when it's winter, it's really cold. Usually people go into the sunlight to take a sun bath, and you cannot say, "Excuse me, this is actually my sunlight." Nobody owns the sunlight, and it's you who decides whether you should, you want to take a sun bath or not. It's not like that. The sunlight appears and disappears. The sunlight is always there, but you decide whether you want to connect with the sunlight. Go and take a sun bath.
Yeah. Pete nanshe zamuling chuli kaneji imbanda chu kaneji imbayana nimi woza nanshe de yen sonza ani sozo ko samlo tawi thoni ngazo taki kala jiwana je semgni ba chimo yoso sozo samlo tawi thoni ta nibarda chi sozo de dan dele ya chi dewa chibayina dewa chi ki yoba chi res.
And same as the way you can, from your own wish, as well as you can go into the sunlight, the same thing is with the Dharma. If you think that you're going to benefit from Dharma, you're always free to do so.
Yeah. Chula dewa chiki yoba samda masepi, raba? Chula chulu yang cheta pa kani chilin dewa chema cheta ya sozo go rawa imbata chikte ta telen dewa cheba ina che choba chade gore.
And it's not that you are free to engage in a particular, sort of religion. You're free to engage in any kind of sort of spiritual practice or religion that you can find across the world. You have all the freedom to do so.
Yeah. Ta niba de karre zidigan ona tan dewa che choba jider cheki yoba jemba ngen dewa chena ngala pendo kariyore ngala kesan kariyong gore.
So if I am free to do so, then suppose I try to engage in some spiritual practice or in Dharma, what would be the benefit of it? How would I benefit from it?
Yeah. Ta ngala kesan kariyong gore zidigan ta daki kaunani jutsawa dere. Kerala semgum trote gobe ta tunda ro. Keron semgum trote gobe semgum trote gowa yana keron chulan dewa cheba yana semgum trote kerala kaun dobi semgum trote ta da ragre se.
So again, you would have a question pointed back at you, and that would be, do you need mental health? And if the answer is you need mental health, then Dharma might have different kinds of mental health, mental health according to your problems. All the antidotes or methods that you that you need for a particular illness of your mental health.
Yeah. Ta yimba ina kansa rangso sozo jig samlo tang da tso loka yin sonza sozo ngone penjor tang gurmo la tini lusim nikin troten da da ragyo na ya ran digore tini chulan dewa shira majina ya digore is.
But of course, again, as all the people are different, everyone thinks in different ways, and some people might feel that they are completely fine. They have physical well-being as well as mental well-being that comes from only financial or material factors, and that's completely fine. That's really great.
Yeah. That intro de niganani kayano wa chingma do chig penjor le tini chig cha sambo yabo je rag meba ina yang disole ya tini soso nyamsheb chi de dan rewa che ba ina yang soso chig choden da da ji raya ga rewa yongres.
But if you feel that only the materialistic side doesn't make you mentally happy, doesn't provide you enough with mental health, then again you can turn to spirituality.
Yeah. That didn't somebody. That somebody got a dewa chaser candy chego is that chulan rewa chena kandi chini rewa che gore se ader.
And the third point would be, so okay, then how do I make the connection? How do I bring the Dharma in my life?
Yeah. Ta chu kandi chila soso rewa cheni to narwa. Ta nang chu ishi chu kaji chu tala sopi ke tini zambuling ke chuli kandi chila soso rewa cheni to yo baina. And rewa che tang ta zu kare cheni kare toni rewa che go gore la baina te dang te la ya. Lo jong chibi toni rewa toni ber che go gore.
So whatever religion or whatever kind of spiritual practice you want to connect to, doesn't matter. It's the method of how you would connect to it is must be through studying, through learning this tradition.
Yeah. Te ma to kerang nan pe na nga chu chuli cheta pa nang chu do chi nang chu lan rewa chen yin sin chi garzeti kala chi deba do chi sha an chi lama dindile san do ni chi garzeti kala chi ngazu na chi chelo do dini chawan do shi do dini da ya chi choba do dini pini te tsam kerang chula rewa dini chego bi ni ba tsa yin yo mare.
If you want, if you wouldn't be connecting to this spiritual tradition through studying, for example, take Buddhism. If you want to engage in Buddhist practice, you want to relate your life to Buddhism, it wouldn't be any benefit if you just go, you find a Lama, you do prostrations to this Lama, you take hand blessing, you let the Lama bless him with his hand, just having some malas, that wouldn't have any kind of benefit or outcome.
Yeah. Nazo pena namba do yima yina domba mombo do yore ani chima de dini kini dini chi ajia yore so changma ye soso ya dedan dawo do chi cheni do dewa yina jo nangchu dan dewa chag yore be na dondabi dewa ngoni de chag yomre.
So in Buddhism we have different kinds of recitation. When you go, some people go here and there, they walk while reciting something on their malas, but is only this enough to make a connection, to connect yourself with Buddhism?
Ta chera nangchu la ngoni dondabi dewa ngoni chi chag yo ba na ta gar go gore site nangchu go shima tsawa de karazen na demba shi din son demba shi le ya lo jong go toni o de su gon rotan de ya wo ji so so semla ngi da da ji shiyong bi ka le ta ngoni tani dondabi nangchu la dewa sa de chag yo re.
So if you want a real connection, then you have to understand Buddhism from the very base, and that would be starting to study Buddhism from the basic teachings, like the teachings of Four Noble Truths, and gradually trying to understand what is Buddhism is about.
Yeah. Then la on the Galaya, Chin Dombando and over the Debachi and over the Korea and over the Choba Piala so but Pendo Juni Mary was in the Del Jugo Martayang. De Juni Jugomar, to Sol to Suchini Jang, Sozola Pendochi the younger Edi, Imbaina, Suchi the Carres, the Gala, and Nambi Chule and Deva, a Chago, Bana, Debashi and Deva Chago.
And by saying this, I do not mean that doing some recitation or going on Kora, circumambulating the monasteries, doing the rituals. I do not say that there is no benefit at all. Of course, there is some kind of benefit, but what I'm trying to say is that it is not enough.
Tangi number Zole, Dini, Taki Trokelam, Yang Sanju Juni, Namter Dinalo, Logi Yang di Jure, the Juni, Dini, number two, Chiva.
So at the last I want to again tell you a story from the same book, Old Path, White Clouds, and then I think it would be good to have a question answer session.
Yeah. Tadi Karayore, the Yansanji Jundan Dilea Juni, Tadi Yajua putting him send the Tingamas on the Yena Chabrindo, Ya Juni. 아니 와서 간도인지 고라지 아니 나사 딘디제나 아니 벤도 요래 요 말에 산주전데 딘디 지워지 주거래.
And I don't remember the name of the person who was asking the Buddha, but that person asked the Buddha, is there really some benefit from reciting mantras, going Kora, doing all of that? Is there really some benefit?
그래서 제바이나 등을리 타르톡거래베스.
And by doing all of this, can we really get rid of all the sufferings?
산주전단에 가르송래 제라마타다스. 우기들 치침보진도 하스.
And Buddha replied, you see down there is a river, a big river.
다 가르스님이 제라 칠이니 파리를 판 로고가 있나스.
If you needed to cross the river to go from this side to the other side,
칠이들라 솔로제네 데니 오가 치파리라 레바쇼 오가 치파리라 니퍼트 레고운도 당가 치파리라 레브나 치마롱 삼니 소소 딘디 몰음로 잠니 데데와이나 저 치파리라 따다 레윈두에스.
if you sit on the side of the river where you are and you just keep on praying, oh, may I cross the river, may I get to the other side of the river, will you get there?
다 제나 칠이니 파리라 레발라 가르체고 그래람 야나 제나 드신도 딘디라 데니 디나로라 파 도탑체고 그래스 야나 제나 치기 잠니 파리라 도 야나나 감바 도탑나 감바 jamni dogore de matone kishina chiki jamni dogore yana trasin la tini dogore so musti pa laleng toni pa dogore mato kera molum jamni chipari la lewa shoza zamgo chipari la lepto mari eso.
So if you really wanted to get on the other side of the river, or you need to find a boat that would take you to the other side of the river, or you need to know good swimming, or if you think you can go by walking, then you can try that. Only by this method you can reach the other side of the river, not by sitting there and praying, oh, may I reach the other side.
Tene yonza pena sanji chonda diga sanji gi chuse hadia karre se wan so chitsiri ni phari la phan rolling rotan ga thablum chama de nanshinda ngachola ma ten shai ta ngacho karre se chitsiri ni phari la laleng ga toni so ngus roa nanshinda karche gore sina sanji chonda de ngachola thablum somba nanshin ga toni maru chotela lo jonje nyamle cheni ndo go ya chi chadi ore.
So as Buddhism is something that described all the methods to us, how to get on the other side of the river. And what we are left to do is just imply those methods on our actions.
Sanji chonde dingi bai na karo sombare danya dakyong goin janda sijim gondun jurs. Keran dingwar ta kangeli thar go go bai na zu kerang dini barsoche kerang tsundi kerang thapsi cheni ro go gore ma to ani ngala musir ka kerang la dat dini che gore sin ma thablam to ya ta ma to janda mes.
And there is a quote, a Buddha quote that says, I am my own savior, or I am my own Lord. Who else would be my savior? And so the Buddha has said that I have showed you every method, every path that you should follow. But it is all I can do.
Laso, Chiwa Kisho.
Okay, Karsa,
Chiwa.
get here the questions.
Question Kishos. Chiso Rimbo Chason?
Was it too long?
Yeah, Chiwa Kisho.
The questions.
Cherato, go so, this.
Did you understand anything?
No.
This is one to go.
If you just understood the
Dramondo, Dine, Natson Dini Mashia, the day, the Johnson de la Magona, and the Kotaya de Galermo.
If you haven't heard anything, it's called, so it's just a waste of time, just sitting and freezing.
Yeah, that in a Genozola Tiwa men and Genozola Matiwata. 단다 ngani ge dinima da chozo chi rawjil chonso le deshi jaro dinani chonso yang nawa mandroke de ga ji korong ji she de mo to nga de semla pa ma song zya ro dini ri gara chong ro yang ale de ngoni samlo tang sa ji do de ngoni ni ma che ga na lo la samlo tang na de la lo jong chi na phe do ji du samado yang dini chong song he.
So if you do not have any questions from me, I will ask you instead. And I want to ask you for 1 hour I have been talking, and I want to ask if there were some points with which you feel like you disagree, or maybe some things that you liked. You thought, oh, this is a good idea.
Nani dinima shia dinan la chiranso yes. Dini chanja yo na yago yo mare. Yang kashi nalo la no. Odini yo na ani chiranso no nge yes la. Ani ngaso pa doli ni yongore ba. Nge dinima shi chiranso yes ro dina. Dini doli yongo.
That wouldn't be good if during my talk all you felt was good. It would be really nice if you also had sometimes a feeling of no, this is not right. So if I have a yes and then you have a no, then we can debate on something. We can have new ideas.
Okay. Would you like to do a bit? Okay. So, Chinang Kishila.
That's okay, mare.
But I do feel some no, so I will share. So this talk about mental health is so important. I have been examining and working on my mental health for over 30 years. Okay, since I was a child. I had many problems of mental health, mental illness, certain problems that killed. Should I be using that? Oh, maybe she might be. Problems that killed many people in my family. So I was very devoted to healing these things. And actually my life has been about helping overcoming difficulties and now helping others to overcome their own difficulties, to have a healthy and happy life.
Jane Geshe Sundrina la yes the mambudu de ngarala logic doulus right. Okay, somewhere yes remi dos.
Peya.
Ani tidane Geshe de Sundudi same gi chutengi course ngudi no pe geshin butor sons. Ani ngarando jimba ineta do chinchi ni same kangi mambujle ngara donglenche ani dineta ga pe mesi de tola ngani mi chimbo yins ra. Do chinchi ni. Ta lo sumju hasu ni ngatndegi the same today na donan cheche tenjula ni ngarangi tachi che go zu go yes ni mixe gi ngarangi same gi kanel de ne ni de chi habo ni nang mi nang la ni mangbo ji gi che so ke dre de ge ni don chung so ngarang same kanel ton ani tandai mai ni ta ngarang kange la donglen che da la ya donan chen da ani da nan shin do mi shin da tenjula ani semgi kange khandes donglen che go me khandes dogo me thola ngara ropa chi che gita daga de le de yes.
I have been studying Buddhism for many years also, and I have gotten. Okay, sure, then I can share.
Yeah.
Okay. So I've been studying Buddhism for many years, and of course I have found so much benefit from studying the Dharma. That has helped me with my mental health. However, and of course has helped others. And so I have a lot of faith there. That being said, I have difficulty with the teachings that we are often given around depression. And also suicidality, which he didn't mention here, but often they are connected. So very often when I hear Tibetans, especially Tibetan monks, lamas, talk about depression and also suicidality, they say the same thing, which is you just need to remember your precious human birth, and then you'll have no depression. or even just human birth. I still have trouble with depression sometimes. I can tell you that when I'm in a good state, okay, it's nice to think about my precious human birth. That is inspiring and it is helpful. But in a state of depression, it is useless. And I do think that some of this, it comes from the difference in the Tibetan view as compared to the Western view. Because in the West, we don't grow up with the concept of karma and all the types of life like this. So really, it's a nice thought,
Yeah.
but it doesn't mean anything to us if we are really struggling. Okay? Also, one other point, sorry, this is a lot.
Yeah.
It's kind of a big
It's
note.
really interesting.
So, the Tibetan people have suffered so much in the loss of their homeland and the destruction, right? That has happened there, and is still happening at the hands of the Chinese, and my heart breaks for them. And no one can really compare suffering. But one thing that I do notice as very different is generally I hear Tibetans describe their suffering in terms of, it always starts the same way. I lost my mother and father. I lost my teachers, and I cannot go back to them. So for many of us in the West, we have an opposite situation. We did not grow up with love. We did not grow up with loving father and mother. We did not grow up with spiritual teachers or teachers that were helpful. So for some of us, for example, I can say for myself, for me, suffering would be to go to my family because they are not nice. Yeah. So happiness is being apart.
Happiness
Is not to be with family.
Yeah.
So, okay, fine, doesn't matter. Different suffering, different happiness. But I think that in general, a lot of Tibetans grew up with what is called secure attachment. So they grew up with a feeling of love and safety in the world, connection to their land and to their family and community. But for many Westerners, we did not. We grew up with a home being scary and no connection to a land and environment. Mm-hmm. So then there's a basic difference of feeling of safety, love, and well-being in the world. So for a lot of Westerners, this is the end of my long question. So for a lot of Westerners, the issue is not to remember I have precious human birth or to remember things are impermanent, but to learn how to feel safe and how to access love at all in the world. So this is why simply thinking I am human does not do anything to change depression or end suicidality.
Can you repeat the last one?
So this is why simply thinking, oh, I have human life does nothing to change depression or suicidality. Because the mental illness, the trauma, addictions are so deep that the mind was not developed in a healthy way. So that's very long, so I thank you.
But also, just to put a small point in between, Geshe didn't mention that, thinking about human life would ease your depression. I don't think he mentioned.
I did hear that. I wrote it down.
I heard it as well.
Yeah. It said, where is it here?
No, I think Geshe said if you
When we feel depressed or low, if we think of he was talking about how being human is about having human language.
the unique qualities, having the unique qualities of our human, that we can overcome any difficulty. Yeah, that was the point. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. As I wrote it, when we feel depressed or low, if we think of these qualities, naturally our depression will subside.
Quality of being a human, being superior to other, like.
Yeah, that's
gods
not
and-
useful for like a Western. It's not useful to think like this. Maybe for some people it is. I don't want to say. But from my experience and from many conversations I have had with other Western students, we sit in the class and say "Lasso," but we leave and say, "This teacher cannot help me." Kungdak. Mangdak.
Okay.
된다 되셔. 거기 다른 신도 낭쉐 자는 너무 곳이 두고
나주 장
낭쉐 잠을 때네 뭐라나 평양 가나 좀 중송 이 낭쉐나 다 가수리 이시야 아니 지가나 좀 리도
yes
이나야 아니 뭐기 때미스 저 들으셔 디프레션 세죠라 디프레션 시도가라
심심하다
나 셈shum바다 셈shum네 강에 배 숙침불리다 디프레션 nhập ché 셈바다 순남게 강라 닝보마 가다 디프레션 데이터 안 딜라데니 미 지장시게 되는다 디게 콜라 아니 믹세기다 낭추시에 되는 믹세기 남비 타와던 수케지시도 상마 찍부지간 로지 시단디 배 찍버도 차도 데 칼라나 아니 키라라 데 딩을라 게실에 큐시선선 게싱한저 미생인디 아니 심진 신달을 하방아 저 뉴버던 템버지 요바 하고나 아니 간저 강에 튀디가라 섬탄탄나 비 그도도 강에 요하나 강에 뉴욕다에 펜도 연구도 써봐 딜러를 시엔 담은가 아니 남비 부슈 참하게 랍단 집지게 레샤스 당간저기 밀류 렌첸 디기 린탄 템벌 때네 당간저기 직셈게 강에 뉴욕 두르세 해줘와 딜라 아니 뭐는 딜라 밀린 기지게 치통이 됐어 되게 지금 뭐라는 게 선수 가르치려나 즉 미 코랑 리숑 제 사long 중식이 치소리 켜버려샤스 맞아거나 가인스나 배바세디 코랑 강에 빼면 보여라 이게 즉 별안전 쇼원에 진짜 가서 강에 양도 천에 대바 요래 인바이네 별로 망쳐라 깨지 뒤뒤가라 그냥 강에 가르치면서 또 가르치면서 깨지 뒤뒤가라 미 망쳐에게 렌 집어집어 차도도 있으니 기비신님도 카가샤서 니 파마 분치다 카 드레스는 시실라고라 인바이네 가서 딱 누적어도 인바이네 춘리네 파마님도라 디거스키 신차다 저와 미디가라 동쇼 차도도 빼샤시나 갈 쳔바이나라 나랑기 낭로 줘야 돼 나랑로 동네 소리도 나랑기 파마님도야 계제시 투치야 돼 나랑 동네 소리도 인지기 가렌스들나 나랑기 섬지 다 먼저 놓쳐가 된소야 차롱치디가라 먼저 삼로 나로라 레중지기 따와다 you said when you in West when you grow up you do not have the concepts of karma, right?
Correct.
Yeah, karma just karma, right? You said.
Well, one thing I was saying is well, yeah, that's related to we don't have these concepts of like the animals and like the human life like that.
Yes. 아니 다만 신디 가서래 아니 베베치즈나로라 보지야 차롱 치디 아니 수수기 유다 남미다 김산다 베 센타니보 그래다 제외기 신차지 차고도 파마님도 노초바도 짐바이나다 데 용금민도 가서래 수수 디니 파유리 디니 유레스 그래라 신차치야 다나 신도 파마님도 신직 제와요라 데 용금민도 되게 뭐게 라야데 가르시나 다 노초바도 질라 차츠바이나 아니 다 미탁바당 다 직직 가서래 밀류린체세 기타와 된저 마임버체 된저 게침보체 디거스기 된저 셰발레장 가리 게침보체 둘라나 아니 지존나로라 수술라지 제와 소르두비야 미 파줄라 제와 제두비야 딜라페 가서래 동차페 침불하도스 디가나야지 로종체야디 게침보체 요샤네 디 가서 게침보체기로 소소스 아니 계속 다 저 독도 들으셔다 강에 도렌체라 아니 밀류렌칭기 다 렌탄 제한 대zam기 아니 당금인도스 니버디 된동민도스
라서 트지체 다 저런 거 단다 지와 참말랑에 렌타다 잡시그레스는 게 그들 라고메 린 송상에 양 지와들 레마테와이나 저랑라 동문이 gonda 슈예인 양아타기 디디 라니 도디가나 오고 예스 리문도 노노리 다 제니 토노 인사리 사마도 디디 마치마 탄사도 제보이데 다 동보들랑아니 디디도치 단단한 쪽에 양에디 슈고야디 가르레지 디가나 그 밀리 렌친 임바도 무슨 총바이나 양 다미 참말로 펜세야데 되요 말 간자물이나 펜나 매 임바이나 잠불링가 매 지가 미 참말로 펜세야데 요 말이라 나라 펜비면데 야 계란라 마펜바 계란라 펜비면데 나라 마펜바 데 몽보 용고레스 가르체레스나 나니 리보 네땅다 리보 차땅다 차지땅다 두수 참마 만다바 인송사 매 지가 미 참말로 펜세야데다 가보레스.
Thank you for your question. I do not have 100% confidence that I will give you completely accurate answer to your question. And you might think that I felt afraid of your question. So I ran into the bathroom. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. And so, ngeba la khala ire kuch ngala ngeba yo mare.
Even where there's no certainty.
Yeah, there's no
Yes,
certainty.
certainty.
Yeah, there's no certainty that a thought of or thinking about the preciousness of your human life will benefit one person and will benefit everyone equally. So, like for example, the medicine. One medicine won't benefit everyone in the same way. You have, everyone has a difficult different body constitution, different needs. So in the same way, this thought of thinking about how the human being life is precious, it can benefit somebody, but again it might not benefit somebody else.
야. 다 임바이나요. 단단하죠. 밀리 렌친사 그 공대 모토다 가서티 rum보치지 임바데 오니 소소가 셈레야 야보지 심바이나 때 배초 lokpa 당야를 때 진zem도 때인데 용거래 삼도 배나 가서 소소래야지 자라 자와 첨부지 요바이나 때 소소가 런탕 첨부임바다 때 지 배초 약보요바 딘디도 소소가 뛰어내다한테 창마디 신기 요바이나 디 자라다 간조 먼저 배초 당가 말어 내가 전 양용고 돈이 뚝뚝도 와야 배나 소소 지 가리나 다자라 자 첨부지 때 런탕 첨부지다 배초 드라마를 몸부 요바지 그런 거 자라가 내다한테 다다 신바이나 디 자라다 촐라다 간조 먼저 배초 당가 말해.
So either way, I think this concept of precious human life still probably there would be some benefit to some extent, not to some extent. For example, if we understand that we possess of something really precious, we have something really precious in our hands, then we won't, just throw it anywhere, waste away. And the same thing, when we understand that our human life is precious, then to some extent, this concept stops us from wasting our human life.
자라다 자와 첨부 임바당 어디니 지게 마시나? 다 마시나 가려운 거래서 내가 그 자라다 배 간조 먼저 이 자기를 간조 먼저 배줘 당한 거 같아.
So if we have a thing and we do not understand all the all the ability, all the qualities of this thing, we do not understand how much is precious and unique, then we just end up throwing it here and there and just wasting it away.
야. 되는 가는 거 지금 양 주고야 지가르레스 디그 토랭이 기침보 소르고야 데 가르레스 디가라 아니 테마치 아니 미치게다 그런 배다가 셈le pen ngamtrada ta pe semle kangi chemo chorni odini jawde kala ta koro pe ranshi ja ngala thiwi kala ko ranshi ja ya tadik cha thema sumbari thema sumba.
I had an experience of meeting a person who was really deep down in depression. He had fear, depression, and it was his third time when he was preparing to end his life.
야. 다 되는 제한도 간라 되는 아니 돼 승통 거니 가봐 승통 거니 바자 같이 시니. 승통 당에 되는 아니 바까지 시기 내야 될 로로로 같이 시 되는 로진. 아니 지 맞고 단다 남지 지 밀리드 배사와 첨보이 바르나 첨보이 바들이 콜레야 네 시바래 미들.
And we talked through a video call, and when we were talking, I explained to him, I talked of, the importance, the value of human life.
Tene no shedi gana kapchela kupe sugul pe darsik jam. Ngoni reba nga so mi pe lutend da mi la tene niba yoba da mi lutend ngoni tene tsawa chimoro wa kasni mi na shesomba ina ngoni pe ni mili de tolando shaba ina ta pe te ta hajing pe phambore wa sin kono pe darsik jamni ko soro chimbo to ni o tene cheso.
And at some point when I was talking to him, his body started shaking. And he was in so much shock. And he said to me, "Oh, is it really, is it really true that the human life has so many potential, so many opportunities?" And he was, I was just about to give up all of this, and I would really be regretting it.
Dini sonza korong dandi ne kala imay na tanda yabon tsoni da lobjong chini lolo chini dini de ore dini ko rangshi jawi mari nge dini la samlo tani ani lamrum tata sona lo imay na tanjo nyaka de ngole ya dini ngoto chia de deni nga chi du sambi ga ti choro de toni chikjina ya keno so nanglo la imay kashi la ti pendo gore ani taja thol dini jawa ina ya chigmi kashi la pimbe rewa changni tadi kashi de shigore.
And what happened later is that this person didn't end his life. He continued on with his life, his studies, and he's well now. And so thinking of this example, and also, in Namrim, in the gradual path of Kharsa, in the gradual path to enlightenment, Lamrim, the first chapter or the first point that is being taught is the precious human birth, and from this, with the hope that this idea, this concept would benefit some of you, out of that I talked of it.
Ta durdi shabayna ngaru tsoga kange mambu chik tanga tso susu nyamnyong ko toni kange mambu chik ngaru tsola chongda chongshimba tanda cherang ke somba de tagarang cherang la kange dini rimbi chong nyamnyong sa dini cheni dini chombare yimba ina nga tso kange de dini chombi kawle nga tso chalo chanjala tabshi chena kange de ser tugundu mundu ta tinga tso mi yin songsa samlo tangore ta chalo la tabshi ya je gogore ta chalo la tabshi cheni ser matabayina ta nga tso tabshi zogware wezina tab시 조요 말다 철로라 tab시 제니 야 강에 세트업체 대마진의 소소 난가 삼로 당당 거 돈이 아니 양지 대삼로 당나 아다 대삼로 당나 아다 대삼로 당나 아다 어디니가 삼로 나만나서 당이 돈이야 소소 강에 세트업체 어디니 된대 용거레스.
So to summarize, you also said that you had experienced great sufferings from mental health, and you have the experience from dealing with it, and we can say that when we have any kind of problem, we try to find a method how to deal with it, how to get rid from it. And first, usually we turn to anything material. We try to find the method in the material world. But then when it doesn't help, then we turn inwards. We try to get rid of our suffering just to changing our way of thinking.
Yeah. 다른 것들 자와 지셔도 가르쳐 송선에 bên 저런 로이 마이나 무슨 되는 강의 중. 다 강의들라 탑시지 동len진 저런 거 냠용 거 돈이 다 탑시 몽보지. 다 되는 그 강의 세라가 탑시 몽보지. 되는 그 수소 냠용 거 돈이라요야. 다 때문에 돈이 지금 추세니 타니 다정롱 마다정롱 돈 무요네다라 때문에 중원이 차대요서 그래서 냠용 거 돈이 정샤야 돼. 대표 자와 친구 차대요래. 그런 거 담보 강의 중. 다 강의라 돈이 제당 그 돌에 그런 거 답시 몽보지. 다 그런 거 냠용 돈이 다 강의 몽보지래야 돈이 제 토바 되니 정송세고 말해. 어디니 인송사 다디 그래서 냠용 돈이 정 인송사 대pe 그 주진이 다녔다 마다 잡으려 말해. 돈다. 대충 싸우지 못 하거든.
And you had experience, the suffering, mental suffering, and then dealing with it, and you found the methods that you felt were efficient, and whether you call it Dharma or not, it's not important. I think it's really precious, the methods that you found through your own experience.
Penangaron ko matsega nanglo la ibana soso la kangye mambu ji chunga de ngaron ko ya thoni ba na kala kanso thoni chi nyam sa samlo tani tini chini ani kangye la donle chi che to ba ya mambu ji chung yore de chongba na ji soso nyam de mile pa tini chini she di kangle pendo ji yungu do ge so le jerang ge na ya soso la nyam kang yo ba de pa ko mile ya tini kangye se tang gre ma de she ba yina ya ko nyam ko thoni tri so ya go yore.
And same in my case, as I had experienced lot of problems, lot of suffering earlier, and through the experience of facing these difficulties, when I teach or share my experience, as it comes purely from my experience, it's benefiting people. I can see that. So I think when you share your own, experience to other people, it also must benefit people.
Tayembayina ngarongo ngoni tatang senamidu nge yang samlo namjin samlo tang da mile karashi gore estika natsu chuchola samlo tang gore mi mangala roba che gore mi mangala andeni chi jamse che gore sini ngatsu tikaja de ngatsu suina she gore wa yimbayina yang ngatsu chochini karayong gore susu namida susu go phamada delya ko zewa de chunchu chaludo 다 땡이 배 가원 통고 당하는 그 통설이다야 어디 배 가라래지 소소 샤다 타간 레와요 비가 샘다 니쇼데 담보 파마닌 거 잠데 맞아 제와지 게 맞다바이나 야 샹다 타림보지래가 제와 책임 세바이나 데데제 니 측도 양다 나는 거 지난 가원 통고다
단다 참말로 참님지
맞아 지금 야 야시모 모시고로 지금 제라로 같이 고래 잘라 지금 벤도 지고 되는 뭐 장가 강가 설득 지고
수수 파말라 로빠 제모도 다른 거
수수고 파말라 로바 제마던 레와 제마던니 어디니 로 지금 코디 제오나 때때지 나 나로 로이나 노 때라 예스 랍도
My outlook, my perspective is, on one hand, we talk of compassion, love towards all the society, all the living beings. And on the other hand, we try to think of love and compassion in very far-sighted terms, not able to love the people who are most close to us, like our parents. So I think there is a contradiction between of this, and I think that would be a no for me.
Penangaron ko nyam yung thoni number sol chijuaina nga phaine ayong bi kawle ngi pala zewa da ngala thup me yesonza pala nga nang loka yesonza nga pala la chuni semga nang lo chorwa da zewa de me nga phaine atang bo yung bi kala.
So when I came from Tibet, when I came from my home, we didn't live with my father. My father lived separately. So when I came here first, I didn't have this kind of affection and love towards my father.
Dan dini jini ya bugil dini dasale ya le di jini nga so semji se ade. Odi jong de kala dina la ya dini chi phama se ade garden chembo yimba da dini mombu ji dini song de kan di kan la suzu ga samlo da. Ko yung na la song ba za mai ma suzu ga dini gimse mombu samlo da dini jong de. Dini jini ale ngoni tani phama se ade. 소소 단다 카틱들 소소 로바 제마지 가샤다 레문도아 당원이 단디 소소를 빼 제와 침무지다 펜도 침무지다 렌두사미 당가로나 디초로 식침몰레.
And but then when I went to south to study Buddhism, and at the time when we were studying the bodhicitta mind, the all love and compassion, I contemplated, on the words, on the part which described our parents as being grateful, and at that moment, I felt that parents are not grateful for us only by being present near us and helping us in this or other way. Parents are grateful for us in a much bigger way, a bigger way.
Yeah. But that didn't do it. Tangi samsars in the Mindu, Chanosola, Lane Tavia, the Minamishidi, Ani Karzati, didn't do Jimena.
And I cannot say that what I said is, is a accurate answer for you. But it's just how I see it. It's just my idea.
That's all.
Geshe, to continue on what she was saying, there's a point in the West where a lot of people say, I didn't want to get born. Only when we have this concept of rebirth and karma, we have an idea that we could be born as an ant instead. No one in the West thinks, oh, if I wouldn't have this precious human life, I would be an ant. That is not the normal thought we have. And a lot of people, when they're suicidal, they think, oh yeah, what Geshe said, I can study Buddhism for the next 30 years and I might get better. Or I just kill myself now and my suffering stops immediately because we don't think something comes after death. So then what he is saying is not really helpful if we don't have this concept of rebirth and karma, because we think there is suffering, there's a lot of suffering, and Buddhism even teaches that life is suffering when we look at the Four Noble Truths. And what is the easiest way to get rid of suffering is not to be alive.
Thank you, Mogi. Get your impression. Dilatine,
Less.
no chogi, Takasu, Chiso Datan the bed, Kakacha de Ron.
Less.
Lejumri Tawa.
Less.
The Indigola Mimangbuchi. Nam Makena or dig dollar in the Yuri. Is in ye Pamagi, so many some men attack the ratios, not cousin Cabris, Jura. Kaisina Kundula, Lejumri. Tawa Yomara, Dama Shisuna, and she gives na, Nancy Shumalanga, Budendriki or Ligre, Chichi Ligres, and Consultes, Chita Dangamra Yomara. The any depend home in those because the Dindigalena and depend home in those Lejumri, Tawa Mena. Any how about the Nanshune? Kunzo twine the Dunga Mango Tong de or Mashina Hagomara. Digala Nanshu Junction Digala. How about the Sama Dunga de Lashana, Nanshanala. Dila Laga, the chick Dunga Gilanshin Sore Mashi, Tanga, no Sumju and get Dejanga, Nanshu Janga Digas Kingala, Pendo Yungu, Sama Yomara, Kajana Conso, she has a Vigela. Then you don't get some chicken, say Madunga, Kyo Shumala Druidis and the Kuzuichi Yomara.
Ichi Maruas, Denny.
Big Military Lavati, a legend to Kimaling into the last one, Pentom.
Ale, less. Tachatang chanting also lay Jumdres at the Chile Jumdres in the local Zurta, Dodochi, Samlo Tambaina, Lomba Pedega Lokachi, Samlo Tambaina, Tali Jumdres, Samlo Tamashiri. Don't the lay Jumdres it can carry in the Jumdre Chetak Pachiso, Cheron, Pena Java Zambo Chena, Kerala Zambo Yungre. Cherang Java Dija Chena, Kerala Dija Yungre. Don't the Dikaja the Shigor Madoyan, not the late Jumdre Citicale, Yanchi Lomba Pedega Lokan or Samlo Tambaina, de Tata Yungre.
Kuzila, the Seshuma kill Malindi, and the Miludi, touching the top to woman, Miludi Chayo.
Chesa Chochini Taterua. Then the Choji Beach and the Carres, the color. That's also Chima Meva in the young. So Tanda dig Matseti Nano, Suzuki Rantano, the sort to Meva Yanara. Ta Suzuki, Denijo, the Susula Yetanchi, the Chago, Susula Yetanches.
Yes. So, when we talk about karma, we should understand that karma is not, some other complete other reality, some other country, for example. Karma or the cause and action is really simple. If you do good, you get good. You do bad, you get bad. And even you do not believe in afterlife, you do not see any essence in your life. You get frustrated with yourself.
Yeah. Tayamba got to think some.
You don't get to this. This is a Yitangche, Annie, Karasusus Lokoto Lanche.
Susu, the Karatiming, Karas, Susu, Yitangche. 그봐 소소소라 세와다 제 제아들 장로 그봐
당한 소라기.
어야 다 임바이나양 드수티들이야 주도 가르차요레스 나 마키나 다다레 나 디니 코파마니가 마소나 다다레스 나 디니 지 마지나 다다레스 디 부들라 가려레 돈다 가르 부들라 가려레스 나나나 세데 도야 나나 세데 치무치 도
And the person, if you do not see any essence in your life, you get frustrated with yourself. You are tired with yourself, with your existence, and you say, "Oh, that would be good if that would be wonderful if I wasn't born. It would be good if I wasn't born at all, if my parents wouldn't have brought me up." But what is the core in all of this thinking? There's I.
근데 나가 좋은데가 나 단단 무슨 기와데 나라 기부문도 나라 대부문도 랍되고 그러야 그봐 나 무슨 거기야데 나라 기부문도 나라 대부문도 나라 지 대문도 지디가 디 나가지디가 빼나가 저이나 지랑 진진자도 생고 불라데니 식체모 레온데 갈래야 다 딘디가 가르자 삼로 디캬제는 다 디캬 랍 투고요 메노미시 다 딘디가 삼로 어떻게 둔두져야 돼 자고요 삼로 야치 못 담아도
So when this I that is inside of us, the self-grasping is so strong that it's not able to go beyond it, to see beyond, I want happiness, I don't want suffering, I'm this. The problem is the person is not able to go beyond the self-grasping. It's too small.
다나신 그 지금 무슬라 님본 통화라 인지면 지금 기왕합치 지금 소소 켈랭고야로다 드니다 파치 요나메나 다디 마망아 세리 바디리 질레 두송 공알라 티와 모보다 다마들랑에 코로나 티와단 아니 저랑 무슬 그티니 지금 기왕합치 케 말렘바디 저랑 기왕합치도 메바 하고니 저랑 짐세 양바바지 저랑 통니 저랑 메바타요 야나 저랑 지 가라리오스디가 그런 데라고도 소소 뭐센 디가 나노라 소소가 직강 체트바듯이 아니 제가 치말로 상로 몸보 다샤바이나 소소 양 샘식데 센드가 체드 레가도 다다 체투 메인 송사 아니 센드 다가라 jam바마도 제가 치마도 상로 마다는 디 코로나 답대야 두스 뭐센 디가 레가도 착처와도 야가요 두스 어딘디라고도 디 송사 양 맞아 뭐셀라 님보 어딘 통화라 인증 미치 기왕합치 켈레 고야지 야문도
And the question, do you need to believe in afterlife to find essence, to feel there is essence in this life? I think this is not necessary, because also I had an experience when I met a scientist and we had a talk, and I just asked him, do you think you would feel like your life has more essence if do you think it's beneficial to if you find a good reason to believe that there is no afterlife, still do you manage to see the essence in your life? So how do you see it? And the person he said that I feel content with doing what I do about my life. Just do what I can in my life, because I do not have anything to do about my afterlife. I do not know what I can do for it. So for that person, he felt like that person didn't need to believe in afterlife to have to feel that there is essence in one's own personal life.
That's what Tuiche, that comes to Samsar to Yahudu. In a Samsala Papi, Milen Tatachi, Tep Yomari, the Sonsa, de la Bonda Shui, the Madonga, Musrikanda Chitiano Chimudu.
And I really appreciate your comments. They were really great, but I think this is all I can respond to now. They weren't, accurate, but there's nothing more coming to my mind right now.
That's all. 그치 나?
Shina?
Thank you, more like not another bosses.
Hmm?
More